I've been playing around with Claude Code for a bit of time now, and once you start combining this with tools like Nano 2 and Kling 3.0, you can make some pretty amazing things. For example, I built this website without having any coding experience, and I've made this animation completely through Nano 2 and Kling 3.0. I've also built my own custom prompt bot, which allows me to create JSON prompts for AI influencers way better and easier than ChatGPT ever could. And I've built my own scraper, which helps me to create YouTube videos and create thumbnails easily through Nano 2. For the record, I've no coding experience. I've just been playing around with this tool, and in this video I will show you my findings and I will tell you how you can do the same things as I've just built. The first thing that I want to show you is how to build an Apple-like website with your own product. This was actually way easier than I expected, so let me show you how you make something like this. So this entire website, including the animations, is completely made using AI. It is actually way easier than I thought. I made the visuals with Nano 2, animated them using Kling 3.0, and then I used Claude Code and anti-gravity to make this website come to life. It works surprisingly good. You can customize it exactly to your needs, and I will show you how. The first step that you need to do is you need to start making your visuals. For this, we will be using Higgsfield. I will leave the link to it in the description down below. Now, inside of Higgsfield, you can make your images using Nano 2, and then you can animate them later using Kling 3.0. Now, first, we're gonna need a start and an end frame of our product. So for the start frame, I'm gonna add in some references of my product. In my case, I have these two images. They're pretty bad, but I have them off the Razer laptop. So we're gonna drop them in. Then we add in the prompt. I want a pure black background of this laptop closed lid, laying flat, no reflections, and I'm even gonna add in how big the size is because that's a thing AI tend to get wrong. So now generating this, it got me this result. We now got our first frame, and this is the laptop with the closed lid. So we're gonna download this, and now we're gonna use those same two references as we already have, including this one, to make our next image. So we drop it in right here, and we add in a new prompt, and now we're saying I want a pure black background of this laptop open with a colorful screen as a reference, front facing. So basically this image, but the laptop opened. Then you hit generate, and now we have our end frame. So now we already have two visuals that we can start using. But as you can see on the website, this is the first action. The laptop is being opened, and then we have the laptop moving to the side. So that is actually a different generation that I made inside of Kling. So for that, we need another reference. This is actually that reference that I made. So this is both of these images, including with a visual of another laptop I found actually from the Razer website, where I tried making it with our same background, and now it gave us this result. So now we have three images that we can use for a visual. If you then go over to video, click on Kling 3.0, and you upload your first start frame, which is the closed laptop, and then the end frame, which is the opened laptop. We add in a prompt like this: a fixed camera, no cuts, the green Razer logo on the lid pulses, and then a manly hand in a long sleeve Razer branded hoodie appears into the frame to lift the lid smoothly. As the lid rises, the RGB keyboard is revealed first, and then the screen comes into view and the man's hands exit the frame. I'm basically describing exactly what I want to have happen there. Then you want to be using Kling 3.0, and I made this 3 seconds because the longer your video is, the further down you have to scroll. Because as you can see, I already have to scroll quite far in this website until the laptop opens, and then we see the side angle. So these are actually 2 videos that are each 3 seconds each. So in total, we have a video of 6 seconds. So now we have our first video, and that is these 3 seconds. We now need to have our next 3 seconds. So we're gonna continue from the open laptop, and then we have the side angles. So we already have these 2 images, and I just put them into Kling, and I added in my prompt, and then I hit generate. Now that gave me this video. Perfect. So now you have 2 videos that are 3 seconds each. We now have to combine them inside Premiere Pro or CapCut or whatever tool you use. I would recommend a free one here, but you just combine both clips and render it out. That should leave you with a completed video like this one. So now you have completed the first step. you are now ready to move on to the second step, which is downloading anti-gravity. So what I want you to do is I will leave a link with all the assets that you need in my free school community, including a loom where I explain more in depth on how to set up this part, because this is a bit too in depth to explain in a YouTube video. I will go over this slowly in a loom, and you can find it in this free school community. After you've done that setup of setting up anti-gravity and installing Claude, you can then start using this format. So what you want to do is you want to open the folder that I gave you. This should be called websites. Then you're going to add it in there, and now you have the basics, including the video that I made that you can try out to make your own website. Then we need to start up Claude on anti-gravity. So I'm just going to hit enter, and now Claude will be opening and running. Now we can use this terminal as basically our way to start prompting what we want to have happening. Now I want to create a website like Apple. I've made a screenshot of this website because I really like their animation on it. So I'm copying this file to link it inside of the machine. Now I'm pasting it in there, so now it has my file there. And then I'm adding in my prompt. I will leave this prompt again in the document so you can do this for yourself. So I'm just saying I upload a video called Razer MP4. That's this video. If you have your own product, then you want to add in your video in there. And then you want to rename it to the file that is attached in there. I also uploaded an Apple site reference, which is this screenshot. And then I'm using this as a reference from the clean design and the UI. Then we're basically asking it to help us create a one-page landing page that is modern, clean, professional, and looks at Apple's website for inspiration, but is branded to our own brand. In this case, it is Razer. Background should be black, matching the video. And I've also left some more details about the laptop inside of here. Then we hit enter. And now the engine is basically starting up. It will now ask you a bunch of questions. So can it access this website? So we're gonna hit yes and don't ask again. Then we're gonna do the same thing for a few other questions that it will have. Essentially what it's doing now is it's using this markdown file that I have right here. Let me actually show you what this file is. So this file is a bunch of instructions of what we want the tool to be doing. So first it's accessing this tool. So it's running everything through this file, through this like basically a bit of a skill. And then it's building everything for you. Essentially this markdown file is doing all the hard work for you because it's following a complete format that you can be using here. Because I already had this tool installed, I don't have to answer yes. But what will happen is you will keep getting questions like these and you just want to say yes to all of them. And then it will start installing. Once it's done, you can just ask it, how can I view my site? Then we'll give you this localhost website where you can view your website. So now it made a slightly different website for me because I haven't added any changes or I haven't customized it at all. So if I scroll through this, then we can still see your automation, but we have different text in there. And we have slightly different like scroll animations. You can basically start customizing it by chatting in here and telling you exactly what you want to have happen. And if you want to host this website, then you can go to a website like Versal where you can get a plan and then you can host your own website. So that is the first use case of what you can do with Nano Banana 2 and Claude Code and a bit of anti-gravity. Now let me show you the second one where we're building AI influencers with custom JSON prompts. So now we're gonna add a new folder to our workspace, and this is gonna be the folder of Nano Banana 2. I will give you this exact folder. Then we're gonna need a new terminal. So you wanna click on new terminal here. And now you want to make sure that you're using Nano Banana 2. Before we do anything, I've built in a few skills in here. So we have Claude MD. This is a markdown file where we're basically instructing Claude to keep everything organized, to store prompts so we can use them for later reference. So it will be stored in this prompt section. Then I also have this master prompt, and this is basically where we explain to the AI what we want to have happen. So we're explaining what type of JSON format it needs to use to write the prompt, what it needs to include in there, and also what the platform defaults are and what we want to integrate for our specifics. For example, we want to avoid having plastic skin, airbursts, skin smoothing, beauty filters. We want to keep it raw and natural looking. Then we're also giving more camera instruction, lighting behavior, imperfections rule, like we want to make it human. I've completely customized this whole prompt so you can get the best influencer possible. And lastly, we have this AI influencer markdown file, and this gives specific instructions on how to prompt it for images and for videos. So it's using all of these 3 skills to make our own custom JSON prompt for our AI influencer, which we can then use inside of Higgsfield. First thing first, we need to launch up Claude again. So you're going to type in Claude, and now Claude is enabled. Now, while I'm installing all of this, you might have to question then why you're making this so complicated. And let me explain this to you. If you're making AI influencers, you want to include a lot of details about your character, about what's going on in the shot, about the product, everything. A good way to start prompting your character and get good results is using JSON prompting, because it's just way easier to give the AI exact instructions and tell it exactly what you want to have in there. Essentially, JSON prompting is using a coding format which allows you to be way more detailed and accurate in your prompts. I tried being as detailed as possible within a normal prompt. So I tried this out in Higgsfield, where I have a pretty detailed prompt in there. And it does work, like we do have a decent result. I would say though, the bottle of prime is a bit weird. It's inverted, it's not the way I intended. And overall, the influence itself doesn't look as good as if I were to do the same thing, but with a JSON prompt. So this is it with a JSON prompt. We can see the product is good, it's readable, it's not inverted. But as you can see, this is quite a complicated way of prompting. Now, with this custom bot that we're building in anti-gravity, it's easier for you to start prompting that way. If you wonder why not do this through ChatGPT with a custom GPT, this whole setup is way more advanced and you can do much more with it. Also, I think it's time that we start thinking about what AI tools we're using here. So with everything going on with ChatGPT, I want to make you conscious about what AI you are supporting. That's why I try to use Claude as much as possible. So now we just have to type in, I want to create an AI influencer. And it now understands that we want to make this AI influencer. So it starts using these skills. So it just defined that it needs to be using this skill markdown file. And now it's asking us this question. And this is made so it will help you. So let me actually show you in this Claude command bot. So now it's actually asking like these questions of our character in the most simplified way as possible. So now it's using this markdown file where I have these questions located. So it will help you make your AI influencer in the most simple way as possible. What you can do now is if you have a product like this prime bottle, for example, you can just copy that, then you paste it in here so it already knows like what type of product you want to make it about. Then you just start answering all of these questions. So I want to make a female in the early 20s, American, platinum white straight long hair, in her room holding a prime drink, and she is happy. Then we hit enter. And if you're not detailed enough, it will ask you a follow-up question. So it makes sure that you get exactly what you want. So now as you see, it asks us what type of platform this is for. So we're gonna go with Instagram, and now it's writing the prompt. It's using these skills for that. We now have our prompt right here, and if you click on it, it will open the prompt here, and we can now copy this and put this inside of Higgsfield. So then you go over to image, Nano 2, and now we can start inputting our prompt. Make sure you match the settings here. So we're gonna do 9:16, and then you can do 2K or 4K. I'm gonna keep it at 2K. And then you hit generate. I just got this result and I'm realizing I made one mistake, and you would probably do too. To get the best results, what you want to do is you want to add in that prime bottle so it actually has a reference of your product, and this way your product doesn't look weird. So make sure you generate that, and then you generate again with that product included. So there you go. Now we have our image. The next step is to animate this. So you click on animate, and then you want to select Kling 3.0. You might be wondering, what do I have to prompt to make this sound natural? Now I got you covered here, because in anti-gravity, if we now type, I want to create a motion prompt for her, Claude will start typing a prompt for you that you can use inside of Kling. Then you answer all these questions of what do you want her to do or to say, how long should the video be, and what accent. I want to have her talking how pleasantly surprised she is at how good this new flavor is. It's strawberry lemonade, it's not too sweet, but it's just the right balance. Now I want this to be around 10 seconds. Now it will start writing the prompt for us. We now have the prompt right here and also has saved this into our prompt files in here. Then we copy it and then we go back to Kling, and now we just copy and paste that prompt in there, and then we hit it for 10 seconds and then we click generate. Here we have the result.
Okay, so I was not expecting this. Like, I've tried all the flavors and I thought strawberry lemonade was gonna be like way too sweet, but it's so good.
You can just keep using this format for any type of character. So for example, here I made a character for a Nike running ad, and then I turned it into this video.
These Nikes, man, I don't know what they put in these, but like every stride just feels so bouncy. And they're so comfortable. Like, I've been out here for miles.
Just saying though, Kling has to double check the jiggle physics. Like, I don't know what's going on there. Either way, that's another use case of how to use this. For the last one, I just tried having a bit of fun with this. This is not a actual practical one, but this is just to show you what's possible. So what I did for this last one is I want to show you how you can make custom tools for your needs. And in this one, I made a thumbnail tool that can easily write prompts that I can then use with Nano 2 to create custom thumbnails for me. So I built this YouTube scraper, which you can launch by installing these files, which I will also give you. And then if you just say YouTube scraper frontend index HTML, then it will launch you this version, which you can run locally. Here we have my thumbnail maker, and it's also a bit of a YouTube scraper. So what I can do is if I can type in any type of keyword, for example, we can type in Nano Banana 2. It now shows us the top videos based on views and also based on the most recently updated ones. Now this on its own is nothing special. You can already see this inside of YouTube itself. I just want to have a bit of fun seeing what I can do with that. Now if we scroll below there and if we then add in our API reference key through Claude itself, you can easily generate your own key through Claude, add it in there, then you can start making prompts for Higgsfield. So what I did is I downloaded this thumbnail and then I put it in there as a reference, then I put in an image of me, and then I asked it to generate me an Higgsfield prompt, which I can then use to make my own thumbnail with. So it made me this prompt and I copied that prompt. I put it inside of Higgsfield, then I uploaded both references and then I hit generate. It gave me this result. So this again is a way of how JSON prompting can help you make consistent use cases. I'm just touching the surface level here. I might even make this overly complicated, but I just want you to be aware that building skills like these, playing around with it, even if it's not that useful, is gonna be very important. Because if someone like me without any coding experience can already build stuff like this, imagine what you can do if you put like 6 months or a year of your time towards this. Making your own custom tools already has been super powerful, but it will be even more powerful in the future. So if you want to try this out yourself, I will leave the link for all tools like Higgsfield, Claude, and also Anti-Gravity in the description down below, so you can try it out for yourself. I will also leave a link to my school community where you can sign up, go over the loom, and check it out at your own pace, so you have the complete setup. Please let me know in the comments if you want to see me use Claude more and want me to see experimenting with it more, and click the video on the screen right now if you want to learn how I make cinematic looking videos and images.